Good evening, everyone. Welcome to N3 TV News, the stream that gives you the best news. This is your boy N3, and I have a live interview with the Bloomin' Ebony, which is known as Miss Kris. How you doing today, Kris?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
All right, that's good. First and foremost, as always, thank you for joining the live stream and just being willing for me to allow me to interview you. I'm gonna give you a round of applause real quick. And Chad, definitely feel free to let me get this out the way real quick. Chat, definitely feel free to search up for the Bloomin' Ebony. The Bloomin' Ebony is her IG account. And you can also look for her YouTube channel, which is the same thing, the Bloomin' Ebony on YouTube. So take the time in a moment to subscribe to her channel, watch her videos, definitely like and give good positive comments, and follow her on Instagram once again. So
thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that your day is going well, Kris, and I hope you're ready for these nice, fun questions. Just to let you know, as more people come into the chat, they may have questions as well too. So some might type in the chat, and if they do so, I'll definitely post it so that we could both read it and answer it together.
Okay.
All right. But okay, the first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself. I love these getting to know you questions.
These are the hardest questions because I never know where to start. And so I guess I'll start with my parents. My dad grew up in the South, in a very Baptist community, a very small town in North Carolina. My mom grew up in California, and she was actually raised to be a stay-at-home mom since she was 5 or 9. Really, really young, extremely young. And so basically when my parents met, my mom already had 4 children. And when she got pregnant with me, my dad decided to marry her. And I think that had a really big impact on my upbringing since my parents decided to stay together, and they were together my entire life pretty much. They got divorced when I was about 19. And so my entire youth, they were together. And so I always had a really great example, a good example of a father and a mother.
Okay.
And then, but growing up, I was constantly told to be something big. And at about 5 years old, I decided to be a surgeon. And so I went from being a cardiologist, went to be a heart surgeon, to being an orthopedic surgeon, working with bones. And when I got to college, I realized that I hated everything about pre-med. I didn't want to be in school for 12 years. I didn't want to waste my great dating years in school. And so I ended up choosing accounting, and I was in school for only 5 years instead of 13.
Okay.
And I decided to do YouTube when I realized that there weren't enough people sharing their femininity journeys. There were just a lot of gaps when it came to, I guess, they would have issues, but they wouldn't show those issues. So all of a sudden, they would have these huge gaps where they are beginners and then they're experts. I don't know if that makes sense, but I felt like they weren't showing the work that they had to do to get there. And they weren't quite holding themselves accountable in those areas. Like they would say like, oh yeah, I did this awful thing, but they wouldn't actually show it or talk about how they got through it. And I just kind of felt like there wasn't really a community of people who were showing that growth. They're just people who just, bless you. There's people who wanted to, no worries. They're just people who just wanted to be experts and tell people how to live their lives.
Okay. So one of my questions is, okay, so I know you mentioned that they usually decided to be an accountant because you didn't want to pretty much miss out on like the relationship aspect. So I'm assuming are you? Well, let me ask you this if you don't mind. So are you currently single?
Technically, I'm unmarried.
You're unmarried. Okay. That means that.
Well,
okay. You might elaborate that.
Yes. I'm not married. I'm partnered. So I'm currently cohabitating, but I'm not married.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So like basically like you're dating, right?
Yes.
If that's another word. Okay. And all right, that's good to know. And I know you said like you gave up the pursuit, like for getting into the medical type of field because that would have took longer, and you felt like that would have put a damper like in family, pretty much like marriage, like or kids, and I know a lot of women they want to get married, they want to have kids and all that. So I mean, I think it's a smart move that you're making because you're not trying to have anything to hinder that process. But sometimes like when you talk to other women, I'm for sure they'll have a different opinion. A lot of them will say, "Girl, you're tripping. You could get all this, you could get that. If you're gonna make more money, like you could still do both." And what do you say about that, if you don't mind?
I definitely heard that. I definitely heard that I could have both. At first, it created a lot of anxiety for me. And so basically, I felt like people were telling me what my abilities were. And so when I wasn't able to meet those expectations, it made me feel like I was inadequate. And I kept I was in this like constant battle where I was confused because people are telling me what I can do, but I'm proving that I can't do all those things. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted. It was just creating so much anxiety. I was being told that, you're so smart, you can do whatever you want to do, you can have it all. And I would not do well on an exam. And I was like, well, they told me I can do this. Like, what am I doing wrong? And, I had panic attacks really, really badly as well in school. And I remember sitting down and saying like, this isn't true. Like I can't. And it's okay to say that I'm not able to do these things. I'm not, that Black girl magic, not in the, bless you, not in the way not in the way that they're saying I am, like I don't want to go down that path. And I felt like I was being pushed down the path. And the farther I went, the more blurry the other path got. And I just got to a point where I was like, that path just seems so much better. Like it just seems so much calmer and softer. And, you know, it just seems better over there. And so I stopped. I said, let me just turn around while I can. You know, and that was at like 19, 20. And I decided I'm just going to finish out this degree, this accounting degree. I've always been good with numbers and see where life takes me, you know, really try to understand who I am as a woman, really understand what I want. And then basically I realized that they were lying to me all those years because the women who were telling me that I could do it, you know, and by the time they hit, you know, in their 30s, they were saying that they wish they could go back and do it differently. But they're telling me to keep going down that path they know that they regret.
Ooh, do you think at the moment, like, do you think it was intentional that they was lying to you, or do you feel like maybe at the moment they just felt like anything was possible, and then maybe that's probably when reality hit, and then later on they regretted it, or do you? What's your thoughts on that part? I'm just trying to dig a little deeper into that.
Personally, so I've been thinking a lot about this actually. I think there's something about accountability. So basically, by telling me to not do what they did means that they had to look at themselves and admit that they did something wrong, if that makes sense. Like they had to admit that they are not their version of ideal. You know, we keep telling ourselves like, oh, I'm okay, like I'm perfect. You know, we keep telling each other, you're good, sis, you're good. And you start to fill your head with air. And then before you know it, you never really take that time to reflect because reflecting is hard. It's very, very difficult. And it reminds you that you aren't perfect. And I think the issue was them looking at me and saying, don't do what I did, just reminded them that they messed up, if that makes sense. And messed up is kind of a harsh word, but it reminds them that they missed their opportunity. And now they have to face those consequences, but they don't want to see it that way.
Wow, I didn't really think about it like that. And you know that the more you speak on that, I feel like it makes more sense. You know, wow. Okay, let me get to the number 2 question then, right? Because I would like to know. And then, like I said, that was definitely good insight. You know, but number 2 is like, okay, well, who or what has been like your biggest inspiration?
That's a really hard question. That's a really, really hard question. I never really thought about that. Probably my dad when it comes to like my family. Most of my family members, actually, my sisters inspire me every day. Probably my sisters and my dad probably inspire me. My sisters more so because I can relate to them because we grew up in the same house with the same mother. And so I feel like seeing kind of how they've embraced their motherhood and their marriages, that's really inspiring. For my dad, what inspires me is his the sacrifice he made when it came to taking care of me and being in my life. I see that, I'm reminded of that every single day, you know?
Yeah.
When I think about, I think it's like 50% of kids born in the U.S. will at some point only have their fathers part-time. You know, part of their lives, their fathers aren't going to be in their lives. And when I think about that, I'm just constantly reminded about this. He could have left, you know.
Yeah.
He could have gone back home like he wanted to do. He wanted to go back to North Carolina so badly. I was raised in California, and he was there. He was based there. He was in the military. And he could have just gone back. You know, after his contract was over, he could have gone back, or he could have gone stationed somewhere else, but he decided to stay. He decided to marry my mom and stay and take on. He went from having no kids to having 5 kids.
Wow.
You know, overnight. From a 15-year-old to a newborn. And I
Yeah.
think about that and I just think, wow, like there's so much value. There's so much value there. When it comes to outside my family, there's a really small femininity community that's like separate from the what I call the gold digger community. So there are feminists who are like, how to get this man to pay for everything for you, how to get him to submit to you, basically do whatever you want, take you on trips, fly
Mm.
you out. And there's the group who's like, how to make him a better man, how to find a good man and
Yeah.
make him better. And that was the group that I ended up finding somehow. And one of the main ones, her name is Mina. She runs a channel called The Universe Guru. And I think
Okay.
she was my biggest inspiration at the time. Single mother, went through so much, like assault, just all types of stuff. She also had really bad anxiety. Just and basically everything you can think of, she went through it. And now she's living this very fabulous life with this, what we would call an average man, in
Mm-hmm.
Texas. She has, I think, 3 children, and it's very inspiring to see. Like, I saw her growth, I saw her progression. I didn't really see like how she filled her gaps because she was always kind of like a life coach.
Yeah.
But it was really inspiring to think like, okay, even though I don't really know exactly what she did,
Yeah.
I'm able to see that progress that she made. And that was very inspiring.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, yeah, that definitely is like very inspiring because like you don't really see like a lot of groups, right, that talks about uplifting, black men or just men in general. And I like that you point out like, there's like a lot of like gold digging type of mentalities of how to break the man, how to get the man to submit, that feminist type of attitude, but yet that still keeps them from, getting a man. And you wonder why like, society is so frustrated. Um, Before I begin, I want to welcome Mr. Hall of Fame. So,
Yeah.
how you doing, Mr. Hall of Fame?
What's going on? What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing this evening?
We're doing pretty good.
Major love, peace and blessings to, Kris. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being a part of our experience. We truly appreciate it, sister. And
Thank you.
shout out to you, M3. Definitely the big man with the band knowledge and relationship. Please, everybody, like and subscribe. Please do that. And like and subscribe Chris's movement too. Her movement on Instagram and her movement on YouTube too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Show her that love and support. She definitely will appreciate it. But yes, back to the questions. I'll be back on. My mic will be back on in about 5 minutes. I'm just take care of something real quick. I'll be right back on.
Oh, no problem. Okay, then I'll bring it back when you're ready. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. All right. Um. So, I guess let me ask you this, right? I mean, I guess this would be like a obvious answer, right, to give, but I'm just gonna be safe to say that you're not a feminist, pretty much. Oh, your mic is still off.
Yes. I made the decision to not be a feminist, I think, recently. It was a recent decision. I realized that I don't think I could happily marry a man if I'm following a movement that's telling me to hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or like I consider, the women who want like the high value man and that's it. I also consider them to be on the same level as feminists. Feminists think men serve no value, like they're replaceable. And the
Yeah.
women who want the high value man see men as also having no value outside of the money that they can provide them. And so I see them
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same. They're stripping men of their value in marriages and society and to children. And so, yeah, I decided to not be feminist this year when I started to dive into just what men were going through when it comes to the lack of support that they have in this country in particular. And then also just a lot of the things that women were saying, like, again, telling them they can do whatever they want to do, that they deserve the world without putting anything in, like you typically can only take back what you contribute, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they're telling people that they can do more than that. You can take as much as you want. And I couldn't align with those values.
Yeah. Okay. Before I give you my opinion, I just want to say shout outs to the people in the chat. Definitely, please get these likes up for the ones who are watching like on YouTube. Shout outs to Casey's Touchlight TV. Shout outs to Access Entertainment. And also shout outs to DJ Eddie King and Kasheen, Mrs. M3. So thank you everyone for tuning in to watch the live stream, the interview. And stay tuned. We got way more questions to go. So and feel free to like add questions of your own as well too. After when we finish with the main questions, I'll open up the chat for people to hop in and ask Kris a question personally. But just know that there is a time limit to it. So, speak your questions wisely, right? Choose it wisely, right? So, yeah. So, actually, I think what you're saying, this kind of ties into the number 3 question, because for number 3, what is something that you're very passionate about and why you're passionate about it? Now, I don't want to kind of add words into probably like what you're passionate about, but it seems like to me like it's very clear that you're passionate about building like a strong community of feminine. And I know people will probably hate the word submissive, but in the Bible it talks about submissive, and it's not used as a bad term. But you know what? Before I even begin, let me just ask you, okay, what's your thoughts about it? What are you really passionate about? Because I don't want to keep adding stuff. This is what I assume what I get from you, the vibe.
Yes, definitely. I'm definitely passionate about creating a community. I think that's one of the best ways to hold yourself accountable is if there are people around you with a like mindset who are also on a similar path. It just adds a healthy amount of pressure. I'm also really passionate about growth. And just always learning, always learning, because I feel like when you acknowledge that you are always growing, you then have to acknowledge that you don't know everything, and then it keeps you humble. And that's one of the first steps to becoming more feminine, is to just be humble, and it's a lot. I feel like it makes being happy easier, because you don't have to worry about maintaining some type of like facade that you're smarter than everybody, you're better than everybody, your talents are more superior. You can just be who you are in that moment. You can receive the information and you can learn from it, and you can just keep going with that energy. And so I would say like growth is definitely my like number one passion, and then kind of spreading that growth or finding other people who are looking for similar growth would be secondary.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. The number 4 question. Well, actually, no. I'll get to that one for a minute. Let me ask you like a bonus question. I know this is not like on the list, but in case she says she loved that thought, Ebony. So my question is, right? Okay, like, are there like any other like because I know like some of the things that we talked about, like off stream, we was talking about like certain things, and I guess it's kind of going back to like the biggest inspiration for like number 2. But like, do you have like any YouTubers that you watch currently that kind of inspires like the ideology of raising like feminine women, or just the growth like for just black men and women in general?
For years it was the Universe Guru. I watched her. Right now, because of the Lapeef Network, I recently found Amira, the Exiled Lioness. She seems like a really good one.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of more. There really aren't. And there's also someone named Adrienne Everhart. I believe that's her name. And she talks a lot about So I think her and her husband almost got divorced. They did divorce, and then they basically
Mhm.
got back together. And she talks about how she basically got him back. And so she talks a lot about what she did to fix her energy in that relationship to make him want her again.
Yeah.
I would say those are my main three. I've mostly been watching a lot of men talk about kind of how men and women need to balance each other. And so I feel like I have a pretty good like femininity base. And so now I'm trying to figure, okay, what are men kind of, what are they seeing? What do they think femininity is? And trying to like balance the two, if that makes sense. So I'm watching like Poor Man's podcast. Of course, Jordan Peterson talks a lot about women and men. Dr. John Gray, he talks about hormones a lot, which is, those are the main drivers of femininity and masculinity. Mediocre tutorials and reviews is another one.
And that was good because I know, speaking of mediocre tutorials, it was pretty good. Like for that time, like when I hopped into like his live stream on IG, and then like I saw you in the IG as well too, and you had like share like your comments, and I was like, oh wow, like like Kris be watching like some of the same things that I be watching, and I don't know, I just thought it was like pretty awesome, to see like just women being like in tune to it. And for sure, like you probably watch like Kevin Samuels and stuff too, right? Okay.
I watch him less now.
Less
I
now.
feel like
Okay.
he did a good job of illustrating the problem, but I feel like because he's kind of reached this, this level of popularity, he's not really as solution based as I would like him to be, which I don't expect him to be. I feel like that's kind of on us, like, hey, we know the problem, go out and try and fix it. And so I don't watch him as much because I feel like it's just, I already know what he's going to say. I don't want to keep seeing those women. It can be a little embarrassing after a while. You just want to shake them. Like, why do you think this way? And so I watch him a little bit less now.
I get you. I understand. Like at some given point, it's like you see like the problem, but it's like, okay, what's the solution? But you're always constantly seeing like more. Maybe it's the right term is to call it maybe damaged women or broken women.
Yes.
So I see where you're coming from. At some given point, you're looking for like that growth within that channel. So
yeah, they're good examples of what not to do most of the time.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. No, I definitely get it. I mean, well, if you had the opportunity to just come in like to like one of his like live shows, would you take the opportunity to kind of actually would you take the opportunity to go on his live streams, and if so, like why or why not? Do you feel like it would probably be like a good way to kind of represent like how a woman should probably conduct herself, or how to treat their man, or
Not yet. So I don't think I'm quite there yet to go onto his channel and try and tell other women what to do. I think I would more so. I would basically just tell him that he's right, and then tell him what I'm trying to do. It'd probably be more so to like promote my own channel, which would be very selfish. I probably wouldn't ever call in unless I like worked with him behind the scenes, like paid him for his time, and then he gave me the opportunity to come on and say some words. But I couldn't see myself not yet going onto his channel to give advice necessarily to so many women. Like that's such a big platform.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
Yeah. It could probably be taken out of context. Like they wouldn't know. They would think I'm just like talking at them instead of being like saying like they wouldn't see me at their level. Also growing with them, it would be more so I'm looking down at them, and I wouldn't want that.
Oh yeah. I get what you mean. Sometimes you gotta kind of be careful because when you're dealing with that type of movement and you're trying to be different or shed some light, they could take it as, well, you're just being weak, or you're just some people will say men already have their rights. But when a woman feels like, well, we need to stand up for the rights of men, I could kind of see how that could be taken in the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read some of these comments real quick to you. Like, Access Entertainment says growth is absolutely important. He asks, like, are you somewhat empathetic? And he said, if so, how strong is your empathetic ability? Okay.
Empathetic towards who exactly? Just in general?
I'm assuming that he's speaking something in general because he didn't really specify very clearly. And I don't know where he's coming from with the empathetic part. Maybe he's probably saying for men. But let me see. What did he say? Yeah, he's just saying the same thing. And then Casey says that Kevin Samuels has plateaued, like in her opinion. And then Kashim says, like, good on you for making that decision. I guess he's saying, like, not to like watch like his shows like, consistently. And then Casey also says that he needs to consider his next move. Yeah, I could kind of agree. Like, oh, okay. Are you someone emperor? Still, like, he's still trying to say, are you empathetic? But that's still not like a clear question on like, okay, empathetic to who, Chris? But anyways, Mr. Hall of Fame is back.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Welcome back, Mr. Hall of Fame.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any questions you want to ask Chris?
So Chris, what inspired you to kind of take the stance that you take as far as just supporting, supporting positive, well, just supporting real men and having a platform on that and just really standing your own? Because, a lot of women are not doing that at all. They're doing twisting their neck, finger snapping, oh, girl, blah, 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 making all a bunch of excuses. But you're not doing that. You really are standing by real men. And I think that that's a really, really great thing. And we appreciate that. So thank you. So what gave you the motivation to do that?
Probably when I also realized no one else was doing it. And then, like I was saying earlier, I had a really good example growing up. My father was a really good example. My brothers, I have two brothers as well, also older than I am. And they were great. They're great examples. And so when I was hearing this rhetoric that, men are trash, men are ish, it's just like all of it. I realized that somebody kind of had to say something, and someone needs to ruffle feathers. And also, I guess someone else that inspires me is Candace Owens, and her famous "What makes her the happiest is to make her husband a sandwich." And when she brought that up, I think that also inspired me to, because she's very assertive. That's just kind of her personality, and it works for her. I thought it could be maybe nice to see somebody who's a lot less assertive. I'm a lot more agreeable than Candace Owens is. And so I just thought it could be refreshing to kind of start the community. I wasn't seeing it being built, and I thought I might as well just try it out and see what happens. And then maybe I can turn it into something special, later on down the road.
So what was the most craziest reaction you received from taking a stance? I'll say bad and good.
There's people proving my point. I would say it's like the craziest. Like I'll say something. I think I posted something on Instagram basically saying that I can't do it all. I have to choose. And then someone would come on and say like, but you can do it all. And it kind of just proved my entire point. The craziest would be more so when it comes to, I have a lot of friends who are really against the idea of being married, and the importance of being married. I hear a lot of phrases like permanently partnered, eternally partnered, something like that. People who they basically settle for something that they know that they don't want and just make themselves feel better. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I talk about stuff like this, they get fairly triggered. I think that I'm attacking their relationship and who they are. And I can say something as simple as like, I want to be married. My goal is to be married. I don't my partner doesn't own me, I don't own him, you know. I think the best thing that I've heard, would be basically from the community, like Casey Stush, all of you. I think you guys have been very supportive of this. It's probably like the most support that I've gotten so far. And so I hope that answers your question.
No, it did. I really love your calm demeanor. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of Mr. Rogers like it's subtle, it's calm, but you get straight to the point. You know.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry, like I read this wrong. He was trying to say empathic, right? Meaning that it means being able to read people's emotions before you speak to them. That was the question.
Empathetic.
No, but he's trying to say empathic.
No, but it's empathetic. It's empathetic and sympathetic. So you're saying empathetic.
Yeah, but I don't think he's saying like empathetic. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He probably spelled it a certain way, but what he's trying to say is like the other way, where it's like, you know, you're reading people's emotions and something like that.
Are you emphatic?
Maybe that's what he's probably trying to say.
Well, if you're able to read people's emotions and stuff like that, that's like telepathic or.
I think he means, am I able to like understand people? Like,
yeah.
That's more.
I think that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. I'm learning how to. I don't think I'm quite there yet. I don't know if you're going to ask. We talked a little bit before the stream, and I said that I'm friends. My best friend's an anti-feminist, my best friend's a feminist and an extreme liberal. And I think the way that our friendship works is that I'm more so the empath. Like I think she thinks that she is, but she said things like, you know, all people who supported Trump they have no values, they have no soul. Like she says things like that. And I think, you know, me learning how to kind of reason with people, understand where they're coming from, allows me to be her friend, whereas I don't think that she could openly do this for somebody else. And so it's something that I'm learning. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily the best, but I'm learning how to. And I think that she's kind of proof that I'm improving in that area. If I'm able to kind of sense when I need to kind of back off, and when I can push a little bit more, and when I'm just kind of getting information out of her without kind of expressing my feelings, or showing her that I just want to understand where she's coming from. And so I'm definitely working on it. And I think I'd say I'm like at a level 5 out of 10.
Level 5 out of 10. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think that's the equivalent to like how like with us guys, like let's just say for instance, like for us that we understand like the Mansfield community pretty much, or for some people will say being red pill when it comes to relationships, but you have a lot of blue pill minded people, and blue pill is just pretty much like you're oblivious to how relationships are like, you know, now these days. And so sometimes like you can't just kind of like share all your ideologies because not a lot of people could handle it. But yet they would like to kind of share some tell you this is how like you should be thinking, or this is how the world is. And so it's like almost like you have to just kind of humble yourself and just accept it like the way it is. Like, okay, I understand where my friend is coming from. Maybe she's been through like a lot, like in her past time, that made her feel like, okay, the world was better if she had more power. Because you have to understand, like, for most women, there's probably at a certain time that they actually gave their heart to a man. You know, they was vulnerable, they were submissive, and I mean submissive as sort of cooperation, but yet they got taken advantage of. So they don't want to have that same type of feeling, that same type of hurt again. So they feel like, well, if I control my own narrative, then I will be okay. But the problem is that you can never control the outcome of life. That goes for the same for guys too, though.
Yep.
You know? Exactly.
And she says, agree, empty. Hence why I've decided to only rock with my people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you got to. You gotta rock with like-minded people.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we gotta understand that everyone is not gonna be the same. So like we're all different, pretty much.
Mhm.
And we have to have an open mind and learn how to accept people for who they are. We don't
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
be like them, and they don't have to be like us.
Yep.
But by the end of the day, we know like who rocks with us, and we know who we could be vulnerable to
Mhm.
and share our ideas with, and help our people to grow. Sorry if I sound a little long-winded on that one.
No, I like how you said
It's cool
in the
because
beginning. Oh, sorry.
you usually don't talk a lot, Mister M3. So it's good to hear you.
Mhm.
You know, you talk sometimes. We know you're the big boss. You chill in the background. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, I'm a listener. I like to listen and like just hear people out. Cause see, the thing is, and I'm going to share this with you. It's not, for me, I have like ADHD, right? So, not that like okay, I struggle so much as far as like my attention span, but sometimes, um, I have to force myself to pretty much, you know, like be quick to listen and then just be slow to speak because you don't want to miss out the important details because a lot of times you hear stuff and then you just have so many thoughts in your mind and you're like, well, oh, I know what I can relate to this or I can relate to that, and then by the time when the person finishes talking, you're like, oh man, I totally missed out on half of the entire conversation. So
Yep.
I think because of that, it trained me to be a good listener. But thanks.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to Casey as well. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Grizz and Access Entertainment. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kashim as well. Shout out to Queen. Shout out to Hollywood Tammy, First Lady Tammy. Shout out to DJ Eddie. And everybody else, all the supporters. You know what I'm saying? CKQ, CJ, Melissa, all the supporters. Thank y'all. We really appreciate y'all. Oh yeah, Luann too. Let me not forget about Luann. Yeah.
Can't forget about Luann.
Yeah. Definitely Luann. And BK Apologies. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pretty dope spiritual brother.
Yeah, man.
And Cordelia says, slow to speak and quick to listen. That's right. I do agree. Thank you for watching. Excuse me. And like I said, excuse my allergies. I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't think it was going to just come like at a good time like this, but it's all right.
Your mom been bad too this whole week, man. So I'm with you. This whole week for the week, it's been terrible, man.
I have my issues too.
Oh man, so okay, good. I'm not the only one. They've been cutting grass like crazy.
The weather's breaking. The weather's breaking. That's why.
But don't worry, I got my shirt today. I'm just waiting for the kick in. But the number 4 question is: what are some things you like to do in your spare time?
I go for walks. In Oregon, there are a lot of it's like random areas, like forest walks and stuff. And so my friend and I will get together when we can, and we go on walks. I run, but not too much right now. Nothing I can think of. Lots of random TV shows every once in a while.
Okay.
And also maybe a little bit too much YouTube. I do watch a lot of YouTube.
Me too.
Maybe I need to.
YouTube is my TV now, so.
Yes, exactly. I don't think I had one TV in my first apartment, and it wasn't in my bedroom, and I never watched it. I never turned it on. I just had my phone with me all the time. I watch YouTube. And the TV that we have in our living room is basically my partner's. I barely use it. Yeah. I watch a lot of Friends too. That's my favorite TV show.
Oh,
and so I probably watched all 10 seasons by now, probably like double digits, like at least 10 times, which is maybe not the best to admit, but I love that show. But yeah, not too much outside of right now, just playing just YouTube videos in my spare time. It's a hard question to answer during busy season because I work 11, 12 hours a day. And then after that is just YouTube.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that one because I mean, TV is not the same like as it used to. Now, I mean, growing up like in the 80s and 90s, I mean, yeah, like you had like your classic like shows, cartoons or whatever. Access and Tim say he loves like Friends, and you should watch Mighty Keith. He's dope. He's talking about like a YouTuber, but he talks mostly about gaming. But yeah, I mean, YouTube pretty much like that's just all I watch now these days, and I feel like not only is fun, but I feel like I get educated a lot. And I mean, quite frankly, if it hasn't been for YouTube, I wouldn't even be doing this live stream. So to be honest with you,
Exactly.
so yeah, it's like it's kind of redundant to have like cable TV now these days. So, what about you, Mr. Hall Fame? Always say.
I watch. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I want to hear your answer.
Well, yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube too. I watch a lot of YouTubers. Just based on me being a network manager for our channel. I always stay abreast about what's going on, what's new, and even me being a certified computer technician, I'm always just watching YouTube videos on just computer stuff and phones and gadgets and just staying locked into what's new. You know what I'm saying? Well, do stuff that I do like. I don't follow trends. I don't do none of that. I'll set a trend more than I'll follow a trend. But yeah, other than that, as far as favorite sitcom, it would have to be Seinfeld. I'm a Seinfeld guy. Love Seinfeld. If Seinfeld, then I would say The Simpsons. Those are my two favorites, Seinfeld and The Simpsons. I'm my two favorite completely of all time. So I don't know which one is actually better. Kind of depends on my mood. But yeah, if you give me a choice, it's Seinfeld or The Simpsons. Very easy.
What about the Martin Show over the Fresh Prince?
Oh yeah, Martin is dope too. Martin is definitely like right there with it, but it would definitely be I would say Seinfeld and definitely Simpsons. I tried to get into Friends, I couldn't do it. I really tried. I just couldn't do it. I just can't. I don't know why. It's just I don't know. I'll try again probably if if I'm watching with a group of people, and everybody will be like, yeah, let's watch Friends. I'm like, we can try it. But me alone, I'm cool.
There's a show called Living Single, which I think they made.
Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I think that was it's basically like Friends, just black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Maxwell and all that? Yeah.
Who? Oh, Maxine. Yeah, Maxine. Yeah.
I mean, Maxine. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, she was funny. Yeah, the lawyer. Yeah, she's super funny.
What was that other guy's name? I thought it was
You talking about Kyle?
Kyle. Yes.
And it was Overton. He was the plumber. And then Regine. And then I forgot who Kim Coles played. She played Queen Latifah's cousin, but I forget her name.
I know.
Wasn't Regine, it was something else.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely like a good show. I miss like our family, like black shows like the Cosbys and all that. So let me get to the number 5 question because number 5, I think this is going to be very interesting. And you can tell this like to the chat, but what got you interested in starting your own podcast?
I think the first thing was just I thought it would be a good experience for me. Just being a bit quieter. I feel like I have a lot to say, but I just don't say much typically. I actually had she was a recruiter at a company I used to work at, and she told me, she's like, if you're not going to talk a lot, make sure that when you do speak, that you're heard. And so I was like, oh, that makes sense,
Great advice.
Yeah.
And so I realized that there was basically like a market on YouTube, which I guess I'll see if it's truly as big of a market as I think it is. But I realized that there just weren't people. I feel like everyone on YouTube right now wants to be an expert in whatever it is that they do, whether it be femininity or, the red pill people like the Rollo Tomasis and the Kevin Samuels of the world. Like everyone is like an expert in their field. And I just thought it would be sort of nice to have a bit more transparency on YouTube. As somebody who's showing that like them actually starting from scratch and that these things don't come naturally. Like femininity doesn't come as naturally as I think a lot of the manosphere is pushing. And so I think that probably made me the most interested was when I realized that there was a bit of sort of like misleading information going out about femininity. But there's also no one really showing the ropes, like what it takes to become feminine, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
What are the things that you see that's misleading about femininity?
Quite a few things, actually. So a lot of people think femininity is like its own characteristic, but it's really like an umbrella that includes like softness, beauty, fluidity, flexibility, submission, just all of that, warmth. And I think of how to say this. The biggest thing I've been hearing is that it can't be conditional. And that's something that I heard on Fresh and Fit recently. That conditional submission is basically just like a woman being masculine. But basically what with femininity is that it kind of has to be unlocked. Like masculinity is like the key, and femininity is the lock, you know? In order to move forward, you have to have both. And when it comes to femininity, it doesn't really come out unless there's a strong masculine presence. Like a woman cannot be submissive unless she feels safe, unless she feels secure. And I feel like that bit is missed, where men feel like, well, I just have to make all this money and then I have all these options, and women should just be submissive to me, you know, the first date, because obviously they chose me, so they should trust me, right? And that's not how it works at all. It takes, women will show you different levels of femininity. In the beginning, they'll show you their beauty, they'll show you their flexibility, they'll show you they're a bit agreeable, and they want you to pick a date, they want you to pick them up, they want you to do all those things, but they're not gonna let you drive them off a cliff. You know, they're not gonna let you tell them like when to sit down and how to speak and how to do things. Like their safety is not in your hands. Basically, they're still protecting themselves. And so I think that's probably the most misleading thing, is that they don't realize the role they play in femininity. And that's the more important role.
Okay. This is food for thought.
May I say something, please? Please, may I say
something? Sure. Go ahead, take it away.
But this is my opinion, and you know, you could disagree if you want. It's all good. I feel like a man is there, and a woman is supposed to help a man in his goals. You know what I mean, and help him to do certain things. But a real man should never be looking for a woman to enhance his life. You know what I'm saying? He should be doing that as a man and be fully focused and fully inspired as a man through God to inspire him to be better. Now, his woman could, you know, she can supply encouragement. She can supply, you know, different things, but she's not supposed to completely and utterly enhance his life. She's supposed to be his end all and be all. Like, nah, that's only supposed to be God for him, especially for a man. Now, for a woman, you know, it still should be the same thing, but she's more relying on a man because, you know, the man is a leader. You know what I'm saying? He's a provider. He's supposed to be there to not and protection is not just physical. So all the women that's thinking, oh, I just got a little personal bodyguard and he'll just beat up anybody I want. Well, guess what? One day he gonna hit somebody, either hit back or shoot back. Then what you gonna do? Then your bodyguard's gone, or he locked up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women get men into situations that they can't get themselves or that man out of, and those are women and those are females that are dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, protection is mentally, emotionally, and spiritually protecting you from those things that are harming you. You know what I mean? Teaching you how to do the right things, you know, helping you to do the, guiding you to do the right things as a man. A man is supposed to guide a woman. A woman is supposed to guide no man. And if she guiding a man, then I ain't no man. That's a male. You know what I'm saying? There's too many males out here. And I I really do blame the men for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's supposed to be us to lead the households, to lead the women, and to basically lead the children as well. And that's not being done. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and I think I say today's women sometimes, or
Mhm.
female, 'cause I feel like a real woman, she gonna show you who she is, just like a real man gonna show you who he is. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like sometimes, women will get into a female phase, and even men will get into a male boyish phase, and they'll just play games. You know what I mean? Both do that. They play games. They try to test each other. But at the end of the day, you want to be loved, right? So if you want to be loved, then stop playing games. Because at the end of the day, if that one you love leaves you, or you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be real sad, and you're gonna be hurt, discouraged, and brokenhearted. You know what I'm saying? So, I,
Ooh, that gives me a question to answer too.
I think
Okay.
sometimes real women feel like they got to play games, and it's like, nah, you got to play a game. Be upfront. If you be upfront, you're gonna get a real man that's really true. But if you don't play games, guess what? If you play games, guess what? You're gonna get a boy. You're gonna get a boy that's gonna play right with you, and then you're gonna get frustrated. So yeah, I feel like that's what needs to change as far as the male and female dynamic. One of the aspects, actually.
Okay. Kris, I have a question to ask you. And I'm gonna try to refrain from using the other term, but I'm just gonna put like why most women play games. Usually, like what people call it is the ish test. You know,
Mhm.
so if you have like any ideas why women do that to most men, um, even if the person's alpha, sometimes they go through these phases where they feel like they need a testament in their masculinity.
This one trumps me. I have this conversation with my brother-in-law all the time. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to see if the situation was worse. A man can actually protect them. Like I don't know if they're saying like, okay, can you actually protect me? And they're like giving him that test to see what he will do. And like, if you react to me, then I know that you'll react to somebody else. So obviously you're not adequate, I guess. Part of me feels like it could be a little bit of insecurity if you constantly have to kind of project that onto somebody else. The idea of the ish test kind of upsets me because you're supposed to. The idea of feminine masculinity is that you're giving problems to solve. If you're just
Hmm.
giving problems, you're just going to cause a fire, you know? And so it's perfectly fine if you're, as a woman, you have issues and you need help with those issues and you want him to help you through those issues. But if you're just, the way that I'm defining ish test is that you're basically just throwing words at him to see if he's going to explode back at you. Is that basically the definition that you're using as well? Like the women who kind of pick fights, they have an attitude to see if the man will kind of,
Oh,
ask him what's wrong and
mm.
that we're referring to.
Well, I mean the ish test could be like in different variables. It don't have to be like verbal like abuse. It could just be like mental abuse. Like, let's just say you're texting a woman and she wants you to chase after her. Like things is going good in the relationship, or friendship, however you call it. But then the woman decides, well, I'm gonna play this little Mickey Mouse, this cat and mouse type of game. I'm not gonna respond to her for maybe a few hours, no knowingly that you're always on your phone, but you present yourself to be very busy. And a lot of women do that because they like to create scarcity in a man's mindset. Because in hopes that they want the guys to call, chase, double, triple text, making sure that they feel valuable. But then the problem is that psychologically, when men chase after women, it becomes like a turnoff. So I think that leads like a lot of confusion into that. So I mean, like I said, the shit test could be anything. But I think just whatever that you purposely try to do to test the strength of a man's masculinity and character?
I think a lot of women who do that may be a little bit misled. Like they don't really know what masculinity looks like. If you feel, I feel like if they find it necessary, like men do chase women, like it's natural, but they don't want to feel like you're forcing the chase. And so typically men like to think about things and process things, and they want to feel certain feelings, like they want to feel like they desire you, like they miss you, like they like a woman wants that for a man. I'm pretty sure a man wants those feelings too, because then he knows that he truly wants this woman, loves this woman. When it comes to the games, I think the reason why women do them is because they need the self-validation. I think you mentioned this. They need that self-validation. They haven't quite given that to themselves yet. And so that emotional, instead of them just acknowledging that they don't feel like this man wants them, and they're trying to prove it. They're playing these games to try and like nudge him to tell them something that they want to hear, and they don't actually realize they're doing it.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like so it stems off from an insecurity for themselves, and so it's like kind of like, I'm going to force this guy to give me some validation, whether if he's doing it intentionally or not. I'm going to set up to where it's like, oh, I'm telling him meet me this place, and now I'm saying, oh, I'm going to this place, and I'm going to see if he's going to come to me to make myself feel better for myself.
Yes, femininity is saying, I am who I am. If he wants me, he wants me. And it's going to be great. It's going to end well. Yeah. That type of brokenness is saying, I don't quite know that I'm great yet, and I don't know if he would want someone like me, and so let me test him to see where he's at, to kind of to see to give me some type of stability, some type of certainty, and it sounds very unhealthy, the idea of the games, to me.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And KC says that I don't want my man fighting for me unless if it's absolutely necessary. I kept that highlight for a minute so you guys can see. And I'm gonna get to the number 6 question. But
Oops, sorry.
No, you're good. But remind me to ask, like, in addition, well, let me go ahead and ask this right now so I don't forget. But before you became the woman that you are today, learn the art of femininity, how were you like before obtaining that knowledge? And then that leads to a number 6 question, like, what piece of advice has helped you the most along with it to get to like the person that you are today?
I was an anxious mess. I actually have a disorder called generalized anxiety. I don't know if you guys watched CKQ's podcast that I was on recently. The Travis, the man who runs How to Adult, his wife has GAD as well. And so before I found femininity, I was always anxious. I mentioned before that I had really bad panic attacks. And so I would have panic attacks probably like every 2-3 days sometimes, if it was like a really stressful season, like taking exams or, family stuff, whatever it may be. It was awful. It was awful. And yeah, I was just always, I was always scared of everything. But one thing interesting about GAD is that it actually, one symptom is like irrational fears. And mine is actually arachnophobia. So I have this like weird fear of spiders that doesn't make any sense. But basically I was just always so afraid, and I would have also another symptom is like these night terrors. And so you would basically see things that you're afraid of. Like it would feel so real. And one time I had dreams that, I've seen people like commit suicide in my dreams. Just everything. Everything, just things that I'm just absolutely terrified of. And one thing about femininity is that what it does is it helps you figure out who you are. Because basically with anxiety is that you're just, some of it is real. Like it's just your mind just can't control its adrenaline. So they basically say that it's like if you were to encounter a bear, your body goes into that fight or flight. So your heart starts racing and you get really nervous. My body does that randomly. And, it's hard to control. But I noticed that it was worse, like way worse, when I was trying to force myself to fit into what everyone else wanted me to fit into. And so when I let go and I said, you know what? My dream job is to be a stay-at-home mom and to make sandwiches for my husband, like Candace Owens. I still get nervous, probably hearing my voice. I run out of breath really easily because my heart's beating so quickly. But I just feel better. So like in general, like femininity just helps you align with yourself. And that's all I can really say about it.
I applaud you. Like
cool.
I'm
Yeah,
glad that helps you.
Applause. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give an applause to my own self because man, sometimes it takes a while for me to open up the app. But actually, you know what? Even better. Because I know earlier she said drum roll. But yeah, okay. So I can see how that kind of helps. Because for guys who learn how to be in the masculine, it really helps you out like in a lot of situations, believe it or not. And I'm not just talking about for women, but I'm talking about for work, for whatever that you do, the people that's around you. It's so important to have like that masculine type of energy around you. I ain't gonna lie, like I know I had like a rough morning, like at work, and sometimes, when people are yelling or they're into their own feminine energy, and then it kind of like brings the feminine energy out of a man, so to speak. But by the end of the day, it's like, all right, the best way to maintain myself and my masculine energy is taking accountability. What have I done wrong? What could I have done better? Despite of all the yelling, the fussing, or whatever, what could I have done to make sure I keep myself in check? Not to, focus on the emotions or the feelings of another person, but to make sure that, okay, next time I could do better to be better for myself. And I think for the same way when women are in their feminine state, I'm assuming like, that helps keep them, calm, that keeps them focused and cooperative, as known as, submissive. Let me ask you this though, right? I just want to get your opinion about submission because a lot of women usually kind of get triggered, like highly triggered, whenever you mention the word submissive. How do you feel about that word? If somebody just say, "Hey, Kris, I think you're a cool person. You're fit, and very submit. You're calm. You're cool. Fit, beautiful. All the things that Kevin Samuels would probably say, right? And you make me a sandwich, but you're also very submissive. How do you feel about that? Do you get offended a little bit, or do you kind of feel, or do you take it as a compliment?
It is a compliment, yes.
Oh, okay. You're the first. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I think the reason why women don't like the word because they think that people are telling them to be like this 1920s housewife who is going to get popped in the mouth. They speak when they're not spoken to.
Yeah.
But actually, something about being submissive is that it should be easy. Like it should be simple because I don't want to be the person making decisions. Like I told you about my anxiety, like just being in school create that much anxiety for me. I don't think, for me, I don't think most women can handle a lot of that pressure, a lot of pressure that men handle. I just don't think that I should ever produce that much testosterone. I think it's not gonna work well. Because that's basically what masculinity is. It's the hormones. It's like both men and women have masculinity and femininity. It's not like a switch; it's a dial. It turns up and down. And the same with hormones. You do certain things, your testosterone goes up, and you do certain things, your estrogen goes up, and it's like this dance. But I think women don't like it because it makes them feel like they're like something's being taken away from them, and I feel like we've been in this state of constant control, or having this constant need to control, that the idea of releasing some of that control freaks them out. But really, what they're doing is that they're just leaning back. And what sounds better than just leaning back sometimes? Like, I feel like as women, we do a lot, especially once you become a mother, your body is created to be able to multitask and balance so many different things. And so why would you want to also, on top of all of that, want to go out and be a leader and, make all the decisions? And it sounds exhausting. I think there are a lot of women who are exhausted doing both roles for themselves. But for some reason, the word, like, it's not in the idea of submitting. I think women like the idea of a man leading, but they don't like the idea of them submitting. And it's just their emotions come out, and they let their emotions take over instead of just thinking logically, like, in order for me to add from over here, I have to take away from over here because it will clash. We can't have two alphas in a house.
Nope.
Somebody has to lean back and let trust that person enough to take on the role that you want them to take on. It's not even like men are forcing them. Like, it's not like men are just doing this without a woman's knowledge. Women want this, but they're saying, but I don't want you to do it in that way. And you can't have it both ways.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely not. Go ahead.
Let me address the whole thing when it comes to, you said in 3, you had to protect your masculine energy today. And, Kris, you was breaking down the whole submissive thing with women and just how it's a benefit and not a detriment. Here's the thing that, and I don't really speak to the women too much, but this is, excuse me. This is the one tip that I would definitely give to women. Women, you have to protect your man's emotions. Just like you want your man to protect your emotions, you got to protect his. You can't be out here, yelling at him, cursing at him, getting in his face because he can't do nothing to you. You can't be doing all that stuff. You know what I mean? Because then when you do that, guess what? Guess what you leave the door open for? You leave the door open for him to go out and go party with his friends. You need to leave the door for him to go out and talk to other women. To drink liquor, to do all types of crazy stuff. You don't want that. So if you don't want the energy, don't put the energy out there. And you dang sure don't want him, swinging back at you or acting crazy back at you. So don't do it to him. You know what I mean? Don't do it to him. And if you have all those emotions and you have all that anger, seek help. Seek help and stop being toxic. You know what I mean? Stop being toxic and ruining great men. Because that's all you're doing. You're just leaving a trail of just broken men. Some women get a kick out of it. They get a kick out of taking advantage of men and making fun of them, calling them weak, and you a bum, and you a band, and all types of stuff. They get a kick out of that stuff. You know what I mean? And they love to be in control, so they can just do whatever they want with any man, any person, anything. They love to be the headmaster, but here's the thing: heavy is the head that wears the crown. You don't want to wear that crown. You don't. You want a man to lead. So if you want that, then stop being a witch. I ain't gonna say the other word. Just stop being a witch. You know what I mean? Stop practicing that witchcraft, because that's what you're doing. And be a woman who's submissive, who's gentle, and who's loving, and who supports her man.
I'm really glad that you brought up getting help, because I didn't mention, but I went to therapy before I even fully dove into femininity. The first step is to go to therapy, and whenever I'm asked, I think I'm pretty much on every podcast that I've been on, they've always asked me, like, how'd you deal with this? And I just say therapy. Just go get help. And people kind of like, they inch into it and then they kind of back away from it. And I think so they know people aren't going to go. But If you want to know like where to start, go to therapy, find the money. I paid for therapy out of pocket as a broke student. They didn't take my insurance. I went to school out of state. They didn't want to take my state insurance, my California insurance in Oregon. So I found the money. I worked 2 jobs and I went regularly. I went every week. I paid the full $9 an hour. You have to figure it out. If you want to grow, you have to, that's always the first step. You have to find a good therapist who's going to help you figure out where you're broken so you can fix it. Because if not, you're going to keep getting triggered over and over again. Like, I was just talking about Courtney Michelle on the Leaf Network. Basically, she got hit where it hurts, and you can see her kind of spiral. And it's not because she's passionate. We keep talking about this passion, like, oh, I'm just passionate about this topic. No, you see yourself in that topic, and you feel like someone's attacking you personally. This is a weak spot that you should have dealt with before you even got there. And then when you realize it, you should have stopped and you should have just received the information and said, why is this hitting me like this? And do I really want to put this energy back out? Because all you're going to do is get the energy back, because you can only take out what you put in. And so I think that's really, really important, is going to get the help. So you stop putting that energy back, and you stop putting that energy in, and you stop getting it back. Like, it should always stop with you, basically, when it comes to femininity. It should stop with you. People are gossiping. They gossip to you. Don't spread it. It stops with you. You just move on.
Man, that's well said, because I feel like you're getting down to like they're really like the deep touching points, because people do mask like, I'm passionate, and the reason why I feel like I'm going to speak to you in this way is because I have a passion about something. But really, in actuality, like, you're weak at this certain point, and you just don't like the feeling of being exposed. Like, that's how people, like, they usually come, at me or come at certain people, like, and they always use that passionate word, that good old P word. Yeah, I'm passionate. Reason why I'm yelling, raising my voice, because I'm passionate about it. No, you're just insecure. You're pissed off because you had a bad day and people called you out on certain things, and you haven't really fully got the help that you need to get the help, because you went to therapy. You also lied by hiding out. Sorry, by what's that word I'm looking for? I'm just gonna say, like, you pretty much you didn't disclose certain parts of information about yourself.
Deceitful, being deceitful.
Well, it's another word. Omit. You omitted certain parts of your story, so of course it doesn't really add up. So they're just like, okay, well, I can only help you the best that I can based off from what you're telling me. Because you gotta also understand too, like with therapy, like, yes, like you will get the maximum benefits of getting the help that you need, but it starts off by being honest with yourself first. And a lot of people are not honest about themselves.
Yep.
You have to acknowledge that you're vulnerable and then seek help to figure out what those vulnerabilities are. And that's what therapy is. And I feel like a lot of people, especially women now, they're trying their hardest to deny that they're vulnerable. And it's okay. I feel like men, they acknowledge that they're vulnerable and they think, okay, well, no one cares about my vulnerability, so I get through it. And that's really unfortunate, but that's basically what men do typically. No one cares if I'm vulnerable. I just have to get through it. I gotta keep, stay on my grind.
Yep.
Yeah.
But women, we have to acknowledge our vulnerabilities, because we are more emotional, but you have to have control. I think, a lot of things that they keep saying also in manosphere is that women are not logical. You can be logical and be emotional. We're constantly making decisions. Logic isn't, you have to have facts all the time. You have to spew facts. Logic is you have reasonable basis for what your claim is, what you're doing, or wherever it may be. Is the way that you're acting, does it make any sense? Ask yourself those questions. You can be emotional and check in with yourself. Like, actually, why am I emotional? Does it make sense for me to show them my emotion, or should I wait till, I'm alone to deal with that? Should I throw that back at them? And so I like that you use the word exposed, because we tried so hard to cover up that part of being a woman, And now that it's, brought up again, we're trying our hardest to pretend like it never existed in the first place. But we have to acknowledge that those vulnerabilities are still there and they never went away.
Yeah, because no one likes to look weak, or feel weak around others. There's one thing I would definitely say when some women will say like, "Oh, the reason why like I'm a weotch or whatever," I'll say that is because it's because I'm highly emotional, and you know that I'm a crazy emotional person, and you should love me the way how I am and deal
Nope.
with it.
Nope.
However, who are you when you're at work? When your supervisor tells you to do something or corrects you on some things, are you gonna get emotional with him?
Nope.
Are you gonna cry and we out him and do your little witchcraft? No,
Nope.
because you're trying to get that check. You're trying to secure the bag. So
Mm-hmm.
you gonna do whatever it takes to shut up, do
Yep.
what you need to do, and continue to work and deal with it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the message that I feel like when you was talking about gold diggers, Kris. I feel like that's the message that a lot of modern women is putting out to these young women. That okay, you gotta secure the bag somehow. So if you see a high value man, you know, you gotta you gotta put up and shut up and deal with it, manipulate your way until
Mm.
you're able to secure that bag. You
Yes,
know,
exactly.
yeah. And I feel like, we have to. This is why, like, we're here because we need to talk about these things, these issues that keeps reoccurring. And I'm glad that you know we're able to have a sit down on live stream to talk about these things with you because we need women like you
Yep.
that can share your ideologies to other young girls who are watching this, or even the old heads.
Yeah, even though they can learn. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Cruz can learn too.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say this. And maybe some of the females don't want to hear this, but listen, you need to hear this. Kris is a great example. Miss Kris is a great example of what a real woman is. You can learn a
Thank
lot
you.
from her. Okay, you can learn a
Hmm.
lot from her. I know y'all think y'all got it all figured out, and y'all probably think, oh, who is she? What can she tell me? Look, you can learn a lot. You can probably save your relationship. You probably save relationships. You know what I mean? If you really listen to her, she can really give you some great insight. You know what I'm saying? Instead of y'all just doing what y'all want to do and damaging people and being toxic, you know what I'm saying? And trying to manipulate and trying to, use your body and use all different types of things to try to control the situation. That only works for a little bit of time. It doesn't work forever. A real man gonna see through that and he gonna keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you can learn a lot from this great sister. And please, like I said, please follow her movement. You know what I mean? Please take notes if you have to, because what she's giving you is very valuable information.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and jump to the number 7 question. And hold on, before I go jump to number 7, shout outs to CKQ podcast, Clement.
CKQ, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, he said shout outs to us. No, man, shout outs to you, bro.
Word.
Most definitely. Subscribe to his podcast. He
Yep.
has like a lot of great insight, good topics. He will be streaming. Well, I know I'm probably speaking for him, but he does stream mostly every Wednesdays. Well, at my time it's like 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that should be 6, 7, 8:30 Pacific,
8:30,
8:30 Eastern time.
7:30.
Correct me if I'm wrong, CKQ.
Yeah, put it in a live chat. Let us know. Let us know about the
Yeah.
platform. Share it.
Mm-hmm.
Or when we share
Yep.
that live link, come on through, brother. Come on through.
Yeah. We got to hurry up and get to these questions though, but yeah. But number 7 is, how do you decide on a topic that you will discuss in your podcast?
A lot of them are things that I basically ask myself. And so my most recent video was impromptu, but it was actually something that I've been thinking about for a while. And I started seeing it everywhere. So I posted something on my Instagram about it, and I think Casey Stush made a video that was similar to it. And then I think I saw something on the Lapeef network and just everywhere. I started seeing this idea of like, can women have it all? And so I decided to make that video. My next series is To the Roots. And basically the objective is to find those vulnerabilities or figure out kind of what's missing. Pretty much in like I talk a lot about Black women because I'm a Black woman, and so I don't really like to talk about other races. But basically what's going on, what I think is lacking in our community, and how we can kind of try and fill those gaps, starting from where they actually, like from the foundation. And so I have a video that's coming out soon called Are You Married to Your Job? And that one was inspired by my sister, who actually just quit her job. And now she loves being a stay-at-home mother. And I also have another friend, and she and I recently had a conversation about her. She's in her 40s, and she wishes that I think if she can go back 20 years, she would change some things. But she was pushed to get her PhD, and get that career, be independent, and so basically I was just around this idea of, and now I'm working so much. I honestly feel like sometimes I feel more indebted to my job than I do my relationship. I feel like I feel sometimes like my job is my provider. And so I'm more submissive, like you said before, I'm more submissive to my job than I am my own partner, because that's where my income comes from. That's who provides me my house, my security, my benefits, everything, And then my next video is basically with my dad, and that one's going to be live this Sunday. And that's basically talking about,
Nice. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. What time would it start?
4:30 PST. 4:30 p.m. PST.
Okay. 4:30. Okay, Pacific time. So, chat, set your clocks and your reminders for her upcoming live stream at 4:30 Pacific. That's it, right? You said 4:30, right? Okay.
Yes.
Let me type this in real quick. I'm sorry. So Sunday.
Yes, 4:30. This Sunday, 4:30 p.m. PST.
Okay. Okay.
But basically, that video is basically talking about how valuable my father was in my life, and how I can maintain his value going forward. And so I talk about recently how women used to go from their father's homes to their husband's homes. And we talk a lot about hypergamy in the manosphere, and they think that hypergamy means that women just want the best of the best of the best. But really, women want to maintain their lifestyle or make it better. They don't want to go backwards. They don't want to, regress at all.
Yeah.
And so the idea of that is going back to seeing how my dad was my first provider, my first protector, my first example of a man, and seeing, what that looked like for me. And then also asking some questions about like me dating now and his involvement, and just kind of diving into those topics to see if it makes sense for fathers who are in their daughters' lives to be more involved with their dating. Because I think women, we can't really choose our providers. We don't choose our fathers. We don't really know what to look for. And I feel like dads know that. And so I'm kind of diving into that value.
Wow. Okay. Well, that will definitely be like very interesting, and likewise, I can't wait to tune that in. I'm gonna make sure, like I set my alarm for that, so I'll be looking for that on that good Sunday evening. So that's good that you share that. Okay, I'm gonna get to the number 8 question. Number 8 is sorry, I forgot to put it on there. Number 8 is, what have you enjoyed about the podcast that you've been a part of? What do you have enjoyed about the podcast? So I guess basically like in your experiences, like, with the podcasts that you join, it could be ours, it could be CKQ's, or if you've been in CJ Kyle's podcast, what did you enjoy the most of it?
The community, like, I very rarely see people like outside of my family. I very rarely see basically strangers in a way kind of go back and forth, have these, I like to say not really debates, but these, I'm gonna use the word debates, and do it in a way that just it seems so healthy. Like you guys seem like you have known each other for years and years and years, and it was really you. You not only have built this community, which are extremely welcoming. Like I started on the CKQ podcast, and once I was on there, I started like all of you reached out and you follow me on Instagram, and you're just so kind. And I think just you guys are just so welcoming, and you're a really good example of what community should be like. And I feel like you guys all hold each other accountable. And bless you.
Thank you again.
Bless you, brother.
And you guys you're all wishing each other this incredible growth. No one seems to be jealous of one another. No one wants what the other person has. You guys all seem to be in your own lanes and just kind of, cheering each other forward. Whatever speed everyone's going, you're really cheering each other forward. And I really appreciate these podcasts. Meeting all of you has been a great blessing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it definitely has been a blessing to get to know each and every one of the people who streams, who has the YouTube channels. Like, I was just so amazed, like today after when I came home from work, because I was kind of doing some self-reflecting. I was like, man, we all came a long way, and it's so good to see healthy, African Americans, American people. It's just so healthy to see people in general just talk about a lot of positive things, come up with solutions. Most people are talking about God and being the source of happiness and all that. You don't really hear that a lot. You hear a lot of negativity. Not to say our streams can be negative as well too when we talk about celebrity stuff, but we try to get down to the nitty gritty, the hardcore truth. And I feel we're building up a really strong community. I feel it's just growing so fast. So you guys definitely make my day when I come home to live stream, to network and all that. So definitely appreciate you guys a lot. So and
Definitely.
number 9.
We appreciate you too, dog.
Right on. Let's see how many questions we have left. So after the number 9, we'll have after number 9, we'll have 2 more questions. All right, so number 9 is what is an area of your life? What is an area of your life to choose? Seal you. I think there's a little typo real quick. I think what is the area of your life you chose to seal you and have made the most growth? Basically, I think what the question is that what area of your life you chose that gave you the most growth in your life?
Probably family. I think when I prioritize my family and being around them more, that's when I experience the most growth. Whether that be I go back home to California or back home to North Carolina and I see all my family there. I think that's probably where I learn the most. My families are very different. My mom's side of the family, they're very they don't like church. Few atheists. But my dad's side, they're Baptist, they're Christian, and so I get to see those how those two worlds work, and so it has led me to want my own family and to want to give that, provide that as well. And I think, being on that path is where I've noticed I've grown enough. Like if I didn't accept that I also wanted to start a family, then I wouldn't have started this journey. And I would say that once I started prioritizing that, that's when I noticed the most growth. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, you answered it pretty well. Thank you for that. I know like it was like a little mixed question, so I was like, hold on, let me make sure I read it again. But no, you answered it pretty well. Yeah. And okay, so family, family does. I can tell that family does play a role because, like you from earlier, what you said before, you grew up with both parents, and you have like a lot of love and admiration for your father. I know for sure the same for your mother as well too. So I could see like when a one well pretty much when any child grows up with both parents, I feel like it makes them correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it makes them complete as a person.
Yes.
In some cases, like it makes them want to have that family experience because you experienced that.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of balance because I have both in my life.
Yeah.
For example, sorry.
No, I was saying balance is the key. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I interrupted you. I was just gonna say, for example, if I'm stressed at work, if I call my mom, she'll like complain with me, like, "Oh, that sucks. Take a break. Like, don't, resist. Just don't go back. Just take a break, or can you take some time off?" And she'll kind of give into it. But my dad will be like, "You need to fix this. You need to do this." Like he'll give me like a full plan, like be off by 5, do this, and this, do your work while you're there. But when you're done, you're done. And like he'll call me throughout the day to make sure that I'm taking my breaks and I'm getting off when I need to be getting off. And it's really funny. But it's having both, I think, creates a lot of balance. You have to be able to see how the two work together.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree to that. Like I said, balance is definitely like important because you see both perspectives, and you're able to kind of level things out.
Exactly.
All right. And so the people in the chat that's watching, like I said, thank you guys so much, guys, girls, for watching, and thank you for keeping like the likes up. I greatly appreciate that. So yeah, continue to and please feel free to share the videos as well too, so other young men and women could like learn from this. And number 10, like what area of your life do you feel you still need to work on?
All of them. I think the biggest one is balance. So when it comes to, I recently watched, listened to a video by Dr. John Gray, the hormone expert I was talking about earlier. And I think the area I need to work on is probably my relationships in particular, when it comes to balance my relationships. And he was saying something that made a lot of sense to me. He said that 80% of your fulfillment or your happiness should come from outside the home. You should bring that for yourself. You should make yourself happy through things outside of your relationship 80% of the time. And the other 20% is basically you're contributing that happiness into your relationship, and you're building your partner, like you're building each other, and you're taking your whole self and you're able to fully be present the other 20% of the time because you've done 80% of the work already in this sense. And I think I lack the 80%. I don't think I depend too much on my partner for my happiness. I think that I'm pretty good with the idea of interdependence and that it shouldn't be, overwhelming. It shouldn't be the majority of my happiness. My majority of my happiness should not be dependent on my partner. But I do think that I need to do a better job of doing things that actually make me happy the other 80% of the time. My 80% is consumed by work for the most part. And so I think I need to figure out things that I like to do, which is what this channel is actually going to help me do. It's going to help me to show other people things that they can do, to build themselves and build their own happiness. So they they're independent over here doing things that they like, and then they can bring that into a relationship and kind of build that interdependence with their partner. But I think I need to work on that.
Okay. I see. Well, I mean, like I said, that's very humbling, like to say, because I mean, even though my personal opinion, I feel like the way how you speak and carry yourself, you give the presence of a woman who seems to be well balanced. So when you say, "Oh, balance is the thing I need to work on," I was like, okay, but that's what's up. So I have the last question to ask you. That's on the list, and after the last question, I will send a link inside the chat so I can open up the panel to the public, and one person at a time can ask a question, within the time limit, and just as long as it's a good healthy question, I mean, feel free chat to ask whatever you want to ask, but make sure like it's relevant to the topic. But yeah, number 11 is, do you feel that the podcast you have can really have a hand in empowering young women? Why or why not?
I think so. I think one of the goals I have in general and for my podcast is to make sure people know their options. In particular, like my podcast is going to be focusing more so on women, but this branches outside of women as well. When dealing with, like right now, there's a lot of like racial tension. People are fighting for equity, and but if they go about fighting for equity, in my opinion, it's not the right way. For me, I think people should be aware of the opportunities that they have. It's going to be harder to get to those opportunities. For different people, like you're going to have different journeys to reach opportunity and to take on the opportunity. But I feel like you should at least know that they exist. And so I'm hoping that my channel shows people that you don't have to go down. I'm not forcing you to be me. I'm not forcing you to be a woman who wants to stay home with their kids and wants a husband. Or I'm also not going to tell you that you have to pursue your career and that you can have it all down the road. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to let you know, like, you can choose whatever you want to choose, but making sure that they know that it's their choice. Like, only they know what they're capable of. And of course, you have to push yourself to learn those capabilities, but don't let somebody else tell you what you can or cannot do. Like, we're really solid on not letting people tell us what we can't do. Not letting people limit us. But we're kind of slacking in not figuring out our own abilities and letting people kind of define us and what we can do. And so I'm hoping that my channel doesn't make people feel limited, but it helps them to understand that there are consequences and help them find power in those consequences. Like, if you know that they exist now, then you can have a little bit more control over your life versus waiting, 20 years down the road, realizing that you're facing them all then you're blindsided, completely blindsided. And so I'm hoping that my channel helps women feel like it's a choice. You have this option. It exists, and they're going to understand that you are sacrificing something when you choose, but at least you know that it exists,
Right.
And at least you're being given the full information. Like, there's so much power in accessibility. And I think people are forgetting that. Like, there's so much power in just knowing something, because the lack of information, being restricted from information is typically what keeps people enslaved. And so just knowing what else exists, I think, will help people gain some of that power back.
Okay. And Mr. All-Fan, what are your thoughts about that?
I think that women somewhat have a platform as far as podcasting, but I think that sometimes they're giving a narrow passage, if that makes sense. It's like they gotta be, shown off parts of their bodies, or they have to be talking ratchet or just doing different things. And it's like, no, there are intelligent, strong, empowering females who can speak from an intelligent perspective, who's not showing you anything, you know what I mean, on her body. She's just being, respectable. She's being knowledgeable. She's being loving. And she's staying on topic to what she's talking about. You know what I mean? She ain't trying to be no model or none of that garbage. But she's really, really talking to you directly about real issues that are affecting not just women, but society as a whole. So I think a lot of women, even if they do speak from a direct stance, they still feel like, oh, I gotta turn up, or I gotta be a little ratchet, or I gotta show my body, or I gotta twerk. And it's like, no. You don't have to do none of those things. None of those things you have to do. By you being intelligent, that's gonna attract real people. You know what I'm saying? And if you're on here, thirsty trying to find a man, you ain't gonna find nothing but a boy doing that. Only boys are gonna be attracted to that, not a real man. A real man is gonna see what your intellect is about, and who you are as a person, and what you can bring to the table. And if the only thing you can bring to your table is what you look like, oh sweetheart, you ain't gonna go nowhere far. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's really the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's great that Kris is doing a platform. It's got to be super challenging because, there's not a lot of women coming from her perspective. There's not. Not speaking logically, not speaking clearly, speaking directly. There's not a lot of women that's doing that and not trying to do something else on the side. There's really not. So she has her own lane. And when you have your own lane, when the money starts coming in, it's big time. You know what I'm saying? It's big time. But more aside for the money, when you start making an impact and changing people's lives for the better, that's really the biggest thing. And that really means more than money than anything else. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Kris, thank you for, like I said, thank you for coming to a live stream and just being willing to answer the questions. Did you have any questions for us? Like, how do you feel about everything so far with the interview?
I thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful. I did my first panel sort of, and you guys make it look very easy. I didn't realize how difficult it is to, one, come up with the questions, and then two, kind of keep the conversation going. Like when everyone agrees, kind of input, your thoughts. And so not really a question, but I just wanted to give you your kudos there. Give credit where credit is due, because this isn't easy. I think you guys are doing a really good job.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we did, come a long way into this, but as I said before, if it hasn't been for my team, I probably wouldn't even be doing all this. I look at it it's okay, hopefully this could be a little bit relatable, but I'm just going to talk about sports just a little bit. You have a coach, and then you have the team, and in order for the coach not to be fired by the organization, you got to make sure the team is great. A lot of times the coach is just sitting back. He gives his plays, but the team pretty much is what makes the dream work. Everybody has their talent, their different skill sets, and they just know when and how to make it happen. They take the advice from the coach, and that's pretty much it. And then you run with it. But if you don't have a strong team, then it's the coach can't be strong. And so that's how I kind of look at it. Each and every person, right, is the foundation for their own stream. And I feel for you, of course, even though you're doing a stream, your streams on your own, but you still have a support system. You still have an inspiration. You know, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sisters, your family as a whole. I feel like helps me get an understanding of what keeps you going and why you are the person that you are today. But it's a choice. You could have chose to be ratchet out in the streets, use your body or whatever, right, for Instagram stuff. But you're deciding to change the game. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of women are not going to like you for that, for who you are.
Oh, you're going to get a lot of hate. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But don't worry, we have your back. That's for sure.
We do, yeah.
So you know, you make that call if somebody's being mean to you.
We'll clap back. We definitely clap back.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm gonna need it. I'm very agreeable, so I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But I just like I said, I just want to let you know that, you know, you're always gonna have a special place for the Knowledge and Relationships live streams. Whenever you do come and participate. And which is why like I'll read the comment. Oh, Kashif says, thank you, Kris, for sharing your life journey to empower the generations viewing your podcast. And she says, thank you pretty much. Her mic is muted. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say at the end, but basically, you know, good luck in your journey, like, you know, as a YouTuber, and you're gonna do like great things. Like I said, people are not going to agree with what you're saying, but you got this. And just keep. Oh, I was going to say this though. Now I remember, which is why like we have like our women's panel coming soon this Saturday at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be the Knowledge and Relationships Ladies Night edition. And you're more than welcome to come in the chat, or when the panel's open for guests to like come, like, you know, and you know, say their opinions. You're more than welcome to. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that series. I think it's gonna be really great.
Awesome, Mr. Hall of Fame. You have like anything you want to say?
Spotlight, please.
All right. Oh, excuse me. And guys, you know, I apologize for my allergies.
No
it just
apologies,
came like
man.
the moment I started the stream, and I was like, God dang it, why is doing that?
It always
I'm
happens
about to
that
take my
way.
Zyrtex myself. No need to apologize. I'm going to take mine myself. No need to apologize.
I'm about to pop that Benadryl at 9:30
I feel you.
and be out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was hoping that people like, you know, chat will not be shy and, you know, come in and live stream, but they did contribute. They did have the questions and all that. So I guess it is what it is, though. But
thanks for the love, everybody. Thanks for the love.
All right. So Hall of Fame, I'm going to assume you in. Then I'm going to assume Kris, and then I'll close it out.
Okay.
Y'all ready?
Yep.
All right. So let's get around to Mr. Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's me, you know, the main man, Mr. Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? As far as the network managing, that's me. You can find me on Instagram on MR Hall of Fame Forever 23. That's MR Mr. Hall of Fame Forever 23. You know, on Instagram. If you have any inquiries or any questions about the stream, please hit me up on Instagram. I would gladly, you know, acknowledge your inquiries. I'll definitely ask any questions, and I'll help you network. I'll help you with any technical things that you need as far as just podcasting, streaming, or anything else. I'm a certified computer technician, so I can help you with anything that you need as far as, you know, computers or anything with that background. I can help you out. So, yeah, feel free to hit me up. And please like and subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships. We'll see y'all Thursday. Later.
All right, Kris, the Blooming Ebony.
First, thank you so much for having me. This was great. I'm so grateful for this community. As far as where you can follow me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. You can also find me on YouTube now, the same name, The Blooming Ebony. And yeah, feel free to, if you follow me, go ahead and send me a message. I would love to hear more about you and where you are and maybe we can get a nice community going. I'm hoping to do live streams on Instagram actually to discuss discipline and all of that good stuff. So if you're interested, let me know. I would love to hear more about you and to get together.
All right. So shout outs to the Blooming Ebony, and shout outs to all my wonderful supporters in this chat feed. So as always, continue to get the likes up, but please, I'm serious. Please share this video for tonight. Share the replay to like your friends, your family, to all like the young. Well, I keep saying young, but don't matter if they're young or old. Just share the videos. I feel like it will help somebody to get like a proper understanding and find healthy solutions together. You can also, well, anyways, before I even go with the social media stuff, definitely like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free if you'd like to donate. I do have a Cash App, which is $Mario Marion. And if you'd like to follow me on IG, my IG is Oakland_artist84. Actually, as a matter of fact, excuse me for covering. As a matter of fact, I have it all posted under the description, so that would be easier for you to click and to follow us on our Instagrams and our YouTube. And I also have Kris's YouTube channel and IG posted under the description. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And let's see, Kashif says YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching live stream. See y'all Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And this week, a bonus on Saturday, August 14th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, yes, ladies' night. And she says, oh, what? Oh, what a night. Good night, everyone, and good vibes. And with that being said, I want to wish you guys a good night. Make sure that before you go to my live stream, or matter of fact, on any other live stream, make sure that you get your minds right. And Kris, feel free to stick around for a few minutes, afterwards, so we can have a little after party. And with that being said, everyone, we out. Peace.
Later.